Jumping In on Manx Radio.
With Howard and Chris Kane.
Hello.
Good evening.
And welcome. Can it be that time again? And the answer is yes, it is. 9 o'clock on a Saturday night here on Manx Radio in the Isle of Man, which means it's time for the very best in modern and contemporary jazz from around the globe. It's Jumpin' In with myself, H.
And me, Chris. Yes, welcome along to this week's Jumpin' In. And what a week with Apple unveiling its latest iPhone, a do-it-all computer, film studio and audio suite which fits into your pocket, which put me in mind of the Interocitor, another computer and communicator, albeit a fictional one from the 1955 movie This Island Earth. When we started recording this show, albeit under a different name, everything was on vinyl and we were still editing tapes with razor blades. So, ain't broke, don't fix it. So settle that in front of your steam radio with a glass of something old-fashioned, or if that's not your bag, then why not settle down in front of your latest iThing with an energy drink of choice. So, H, what's been the hot wax cylinder on your Edison this week?
I tell you what, no mind wax cylinders. There is a genuine record player just to the left of us in the studio here. A record player, Grandpa. We should do a vinyl special. A vinyl special. Bring some of your favourite vinyl and we'll spin some vinyl live, or at least here on Jumping In, a vinyl special. We'll do it. We'll do it the next few weeks. What have we got this week, though? Not on vinyl, on CD. Whew, how modern's that? The latest from Jeff Williams, Road Tales, live from the Pizza Express. Not live at the Jazz Festival this year, I'm afraid, but never mind. Fingers crossed for next year. We're going to the Art Gallery with Jeremy Pelt and Old and New Dreams with the ever-young Chick Corea.
And from me, we take to the water, we remember, we have the ultimate answer, and to start our climb out, we take Dipsea Steps with Big Heart Machine. Big Heart Machine there with Tam Malpace, movement number 4, Dipsea Steps. Sorry for the fade, but it segues straight into the final section of the suite. Great music, this, full of energy and lots of disparate influences. The composer and multi-reeds player, Brian Kroc, said... I beg your pardon, I've given him a free N there. He said, my main instrument is guitar, and I came up playing in heavy metal bands. But in the last 10 years, I've been studying the scores of contemporary classical notions. My main influence is the Hungarian composer Georgi Ligeti. Kroc was a great fan of Darcy James Argue's Secret Society, another great band. And in his first few weeks of living in New York, happened to bump into him on the subway, of all things. And the young composer asked if Darcy could help out. And sure enough, Big Heart Machine was born and features Darcy James Argue as well. His guitarist and friend Ollie Hirvonen provides all his guitar work in the 18-piece band. And in case you were wondering, the Dipsea Steps is part of the Tamalpais Trail in California, and it's a 7-mile native Indian trail from the peak of Mount Tamalpais down to the Pacific.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Walked it regularly.
Yeah. Jeff Williams, a wonderful drummer, been around for a long time, played with the likes of Lee Konitz, amongst others, American-based. So I think he sort of divides his time between the States and Britain, often playing around the British scene. We saw him a couple of years ago at the London Jazz Festival, and indeed that's where this recording comes from. He's fairly prolific. He brings out certainly at least one or two a year over the last couple of years. Certainly one a year anyway. We were hoping to interview him on that occasion, and we sat around for ages, and he apologised profusely and said, I'm sorry, what he thought was a quick interview before us turned out to be a whole documentary with film crew, and so we never got to speak to him, and we tried a couple of times to get him in the States, but it never quite worked. Anyway, we'll catch up with him at some stage, hopefully when the world returns to normal. But it's a cracking one he's brought out. We think we were probably at this. There may have been 2 sets. We were certainly at one of them. It doesn't actually say on the recording notes which one it was. It's Jeff Williams live at the Pizza Express at the London Jazz Festival, Road Tales. It's called great stuff with his quartet. More of that in a moment. Here's a track called Under the Radar. Yes, another sudden cut off there because it flows straight through audience applause into the next track. Live at the Pizza Express, as it notes here, warmly sound engineered 2 years ago by Luc Saint-Martin, the in-house sound engineer at the Pizza Express Jazz Club. And he has done a really good job, I must admit. The audience are sort of relatively distantly mic'd, and you can hear that it's live, but really well mic'd on the instruments as well. We're fairly certain we were there for that gig. I think he might have done 2 sets. We really can't remember now, to be honest with you. We even thought it was last year for a moment. But no, it was 2018 at the London Jazz Festival. Jeff Williams leading from the drums in the company of John O'Gallagher. I've got an album of his, actually. Yes, a Webern expert. And there isn't a track or an album he came out dedicated to the Webern experiment. That's right. I think it's the name of the band and the CD he brought out a few years ago, which we featured on this show. Jeff, of course, at the drums. And then he's also got Josh Arkelio, who plays on Andrew McCormick's Graviton, as well on saxes, and also Larson as well, who plays with Ethan Iverson, Lathson. Terrific stuff, well worth checking out on the Whirlwind label. And really good indeed. Jeff Williams, Road Tales.
And we hope that all of those favourite haunts of ours are still able to accommodate us. Maybe next year, fingers crossed. And that they're still producing live music as great venues. Well, we do like to accommodate requests from time to time here on Jumpin' In. So when an old friend and our regular listener in Luxembourg asks, well, what could I do but oblige? Here's Don Grolnick's Medianoche with Water Babies. When Jeff requested something from John Grolnick, I thought I'd surprise him by buying an album he hadn't heard until after I got it for the show. He subsequently told me he had it at the London concerts. Well, Mr. Radcliffe, check whether you have the double album, as the original release apparently was a single. If so, I can revisit that later. However, that was Water Babies, taken from the posthumous release Medianoche of pianist and composer Don Grolnick's Latin-influenced band Medianoche. Don famously provided the keyboards on Steps Ahead, many of the Mike Brecker albums, not to mention his work with Steely Dan and countless others. Good to hear him there, joined with his old Steps colleagues Mike Manieri on vibes, and of course the wonderful and sadly missed tenor of Mike Brecker.
Yeah, wonderful. And he was a really lovely guy. We interviewed him once in I think it was the Cheltenham Jazz Festival. Or
Yeah, it was. It was
yeah.
in the
and
theatre.
He said, oh, yeah, guys, come on back, come into the room. And he sat and he sort of, oh, you listen to that and listen to Seamus Blake warming up. Isn't that great? Help yourself to beers and all the sort of, the snackettes they put out. He said, oh, I don't bother with any of that stuff. I don't drink anymore. So help yourself to a beer if you want.
He just had real joy in the music, didn't he? Exuberant and real pleasure out of it.
He was lovely. Did an ID for us as well for the old show. Sadly, we can't use that anymore, realistically. But, terrific guy. Sadly missed. Still with us and still playing incredibly well, Chick Corea. And I thought, wow, yes, we haven't played him for a wee while. And an ideal subject for one of our little features every so often, old and new dreams. And they certainly are old and new dreams for Chick Corea. We're going to do here 2 trio settings of his. First in 1968 from his classic Now He Sings, Now He Sobs album, in the company of the great Miroslav Vitus on bass and Roy Haynes, still going at about 94 on the drums, I should add. And then we will skip forward a mere 50 plus years to 2019. A widely lauded album last year. It was on the top list for a lot of critics. Trilogy 2, Chick Corea with Christian McBride on the bass, Brian Blade on the drums. I don't think either of them would have been born when he first started playing. Incredible stuff. And old and new dreams with Chick Corea.
Hello, this is Bugge Wesseltoft, and you're listening to Jumpin In at manxradio.com.
Yeah, indeed. Terrific stuff. Chick Career there from his 2019 album, Trilogy 2, which got great reviews from a lot of the critics in the top 10 list for quite a few people, and I think on the Jazzwise list as well for 2019. Chick in the company of Christian McBride on the bass, Brian Blade on the drums. A mere 78 years old he was when he did that. Doesn't sound it, does he? And before that, we heard, just a few years earlier, 1968, Now He Sings, Now He Sobs, with Miroslav Vitic on the bass, Roy Haynes on the drums. And I was just looking, I'm absolutely right. Neither the bassist nor the drummer on his second album were even born when he played that first one.
And he always keeps 2 or 3 different bands on the go at once, notably a couple of electric projects, something a little bit freer, usually a solo piano and a trio as well. Great man indeed. Now, jazz cellists are few and far between, notably Ray Brown, Ron Carter, Oscar Pettiford, although all of those are better known for the bass. There's ECM man David Darling, of course, and this man, Jorg Brinkman. From his trio's latest release, Labyrinth, here's Reminiscence. Lovely stuff, that indeed.
Loving that
yeah.
brushwork at the end, great.
Yeah, born in Kempen, not a town I know, in Germany, Jörg Brinkmann equally at home playing pop, classical or experimental music, but his jazz releases are what I like. Featuring Jörg on cello and electronics, Jeroen van Wiele on piano and electronics, and Dirk-Peter Kolsch on the drums. Labyrinth came out in May this year, well worth digging out.
It is well worth digging out, as is this one. Indeed, Jeremy Pelt, we often say, pick up any Jeremy Pelt album, you won't be disappointed. And it's true of this one as well. We're off to the art gallery to see a bit of the Rodin suite.
Hi, this is Seamus Blake. You're listening to Jumpin' In on Manx Radio.
Terrific stuff. I like that a lot. Just slip that one in as well. A little bit of Eric Vermeulen, Inner City, the album with his trio, the wonderful Marek Patron on drums and Eric Seminian on the bass. And before that, yes, The Gates of Hell from Jeremy Pelt's album, The Artist.
Well, that about wraps it up again for this week's Jumpin' In. Just time to fit in a track from Serbian band EYOT, or are they IOT? In the track we're going to hear, 557799, which was my clue at the beginning, the ultimate answer, 42 if you total it up. They obviously enjoy playing with time. To quote one reviewer, IOT restlessly explores the limits between tradition and innovation that leads European jazz off the beaten track. See what you think. See you next week.
Look out yourselves. Bye for now.